Okay, hey everyone, welcome. This is so fun. So we all have a connection to Gretchen in one way, shape, or form. Either you may know her because you are personally connected with her through Plexus, or you may be a friend of a friend of a friend who got introduced to her via Plexus. So I'll just, there's something on my screen. There we go. I have known Gretchen for, well, I'm trying to think, since high school. We shared at homeschool conferences together, and then her husband and my husband were best buddies. And yeah, my dad played a little bit of matchmaker with matching them up. I don't know if that's her perspective, but in his mind, he was the matchmaker. But anyways, we have so appreciated Kyle and Gretchen's friendship over the years, and she's an awesome leader. And I'll have to tell you guys, I had totally written her off of Plexus, not because I didn't think she would be good, but because she wasn't on social media and I was scared to ask her what her thoughts were. She's a great storyteller. She blogged, years ago, but she just wasn't on social media. So I was like, oh, I don't know how that could work for her. And I also didn't view them as people that really needed the supplements, because I was like, they're healthy people, which looking back, I should have not been scared, right? But Justin ended up talking to Kyle. He's like, and he approached him with the business. He's like, you guys need to look at this business because it's legit and you better hop on the train now. And so, Gretchen's story about, she's like so anti MLM and network marketing. But anyway, she researched the products and she was like, I'm already taking this stuff anyways. And two, the compensation plan is very generous and very fair, and the profit sharing, like she researched it and she's like, I don't see any reason why we can't. So anyways, that's how we kind of got started. She basically, they signed up, and well, I don't remember the timeline of everything, but they opened up a Facebook account, but they did not start sharing Plexus right away. She started sharing their story and just adding friends and just sharing their daily life on Facebook, just kind of developing their own story, right, before sharing about Plexus. But anyways, it's always fun to reminisce about how our stories started. And just know that you guys each have your own stories that you're starting, or you've already started, right? And so my story is my own story, and I thought I would just share a little bit of it. But as I share, like, there might be just one little nugget. It might not even be something I say, maybe someone that asked a question, but I'm sharing because you will hopefully be able to see yourself in me at some level and be able to relate to something that I share. Because when you start something like Plexus, it's not like a one-shot, just, sprint to the top, right? It looks like this, and it's a learning curve big time. I would say that's what Plexus is. It's a learning curve, because you're learning about yourself, you're learning about people, you're learning about the products. It's a super fun thing to be part of. Do you guys get a chance to watch those Bob Heilig videos? I just thought there was so many takeaways. I'm listening to the stuff after I'm diamond. Like, I wish I would have had it as a silver ambassador. Even that recipe for success, when he kind of talked about, the speed of implementation. It's not just like learning things, but it's actually like this: when you learn something, then you go put it into practice really quickly. And when I was listening to him, I was like, that's interesting. That's what I've done. Like, life hasn't been perfect for me to work Plexus. It's been a hot mess, crazy. I've had 2 babies since I started. Well, actually, wait, I was postpartum. I was about 3 months postpartum when I started the products. And then I went to Emerald. Baby was a little bit over a year. And then I got pregnant. My last 2 babies came pretty close together. So then I was pregnant and plateaued out, but ended up going Sapphire Diamond last summer. September was my diamond anniversary month. So all that to say, like, my life isn't perfect, and I haven't waited for it to be perfect before I start. Actually, let me make sure. Hang on one sec. I just noticed my thing is not plugged in. I have it set up with a extension cord, but the extension cord was not plugged in. Okay, we're all good. I didn't want to lose y'all. Okay. But anyways, where was I? Talking about my story. Okay, so 2015, I was 3 months postpartum with baby number 5. This was after about 18 months of working with a naturopath, we had found out our house had mold and I was super sick. Gretchen remembers my health my health woes. We were like wanting more kids and we couldn't get pregnant. And I had these crazy diagnoses from OBGYNs like, well, you're not having any more kids. Like your blood work shows it's not possible. I'm like, what? I had grandmas that had babies into their late 40s. What are you talking about? Anyways, toxicity can do weird things to your body. All that said, we ended up having 2 more kids after that diagnosis, and I had worked with a naturopath. I originally heard about Plexus via Shoshana. I mean, some of you know her, the big bulk herb store. And I just followed her for years, and I really appreciated what she shared about health and things like that. And so that was the first exposure I had to, hey guys, to Plexus. And I was like, what's Shoshana up to? And I was a big no way, because I didn't know enough information and I didn't know her personally. So it wasn't like she was coming to me saying, hey, Megan, you need to look at Plexus, right? But over the course of 18 months, there was multiple layers of different people that were either reaching out to me personally, talking to me in person, or posting about on Facebook. I was like, I keep seeing the Plexus stuff. What is this? And so anyways, to make a long story short, I researched. I was very, if you're familiar with the color personality books, I feel like I've been a chameleon. So in the beginning, I was very green, meaning I wanted all the info. Poor Carrie, she was like getting me digging in the catacombs for all the info about what Plexus was, the ingredients, because I knew my circle of people were going to ask me things like, well, why is BioCleanse a better magnesium than what I can get at the health food store? Or why is Probio 5 such an awesome probiotic? Like, why is it different than what I can buy from a naturopath? And so I needed, for my own sake, I needed to know that information. And so she was the girl that followed up with me the most. I literally contacted everyone that I knew that had done Plexus in the past or was currently, sharing about it, just to say, hey, what's up? Okay, so this is a lesson in follow-up. One of you said your strength is follow-up, right? Or was it, I think it was a strength. Anyways, your strength with being follow-up is a good thing, because the fortune is in the follow-up. Carrie is a very successful Plexus ambassador because she followed up and followed up and followed up. It wasn't annoying. She wasn't pressuring to me at all. She was simply circling back around to see if I had the information. And I had some people reach back out to me, or one girl in particular. It's like, oh, I was going to get you that sample. This was like 3 or 4 months later. I was like, oh, it's okay. I already signed up. I think I was like gold or senior. No, I wasn't senior gold yet, but like I was actively sharing, and I was like, oh man, girl, too bad for you. Like, bummer. Should have followed up with me, right? So Carrie, Jessica trained Carrie very well on follow-up, that, you know what, it's not annoying or pushy to follow up with people. It's professional. And so we need to get rid of the head trash. And even now, like if someone reaches out to me about something that I think they would think I would be interested in, I kind of want to be followed up with. And maybe it's just my goofiness, because now I'm in, we share and we teach, we preach follow-up. It's like, I want them to follow up with me. Just like, hey, Megan, I really think that you would be interested in this, right? So my encouragement there is don't neglect follow-up, because you may be missing out on, you just may be missing out, because you never know. Honestly, some of the people you think that are going to rock it don't do anything. And some of the people that are the biggest surprisers, end up surprising you. Carrie said she knew from the get-go that I would be a diamond, but I didn't know that. So I think that's just also a reminder to believe in other people before they even believe themselves, because most of us don't see it for us, right? It's all those people out there. And when I started, it was February of 2015. I started the products, and I had a little bit of intrigue about the sharing part, but I didn't breathe a word to anyone. I was just like, the products make sense. They're combination products. I mean, what's another $100? I've already spent a ton of money on my health. I might as well. I mean, the products look good. I like that it had the glucose metabolism component with the blood sugar balancing part of Slim. So I was like, okay, cool. But I tentatively started, well, not tentatively, I just started to learn. Like when I was up nursing the baby late at night, I would just turn on, product videos just to learn more about how and why the products work. And sure. And so I was building belief by listening to those training videos. I was learning more about how and why the products worked. And I would say I ended up sharing about probably 6 weeks in. I signed up a couple customers first, and I kind of dabbled my way to silver. Well, once I hit silver at the end of at the end of April, I was like, game on. How do I get to gold? It was just like that one win under my belt just like lit a fire in me, and I was like, okay, this thing is legit. I think the other thing too is I watched Jarrett Abart's Diamond documentary, so definitely be sharing those with people on your teams and tagging them or sending them to like, hey, I don't know if you've seen this Diamond documentary, but she reminds me of you, or I know that you're a teacher. This might speak to you and where you're at. And he just like cast a vision for me in light of Plexus that, oh, wow, this could be the vehicle for time freedom, financial freedom, for perspective, outside of the norm, but, the opportunity is legit. And they seemed like just normal folks that took the opportunity and ran with it. And so I will say that I had a lot of fears, and I saw it for other people, not for me initially. Because I remember Carrie, I went with her to Decatur because that's where Jessica Heffley lived, where I grew up, and she did an event there. And I remember overhearing Carrie tell her mom that she had 80 people on her team. And I was just sitting in the back, like quietly nursing my baby, just like kind of like taking it all in. And I was like, in my brain, I was like, what? 80 people? How in the world do you get 80 people on your team? Like, how does that work? I was hoping that like within a year I could maybe get 20. Like maybe I would know enough people to help 20 get started. So like, I also saw people that had like health food store. Okay, I went and listened to Shoshana talk, and the owners of that health food store that invited her, which are friends of ours now, I saw it for them. I was like, oh, well, they'll be successful. They own an herb store, right? But I will say, it really doesn't matter who you are, what skill set you have, your background, what demographic, your network. I mean, those things are kind of irrelevant if you're coachable and you're willing to work hard and work consistently. And I love what John Maxwell says when he says consistency compounds. And it was kind of an epiphany for me when I was in the diamond training at convention. And Tara Castaneda, by the way, she's a great trainer. If you haven't listened to her videos, I really track with her and how she teaches. But anyways, she was training the diamonds, and she said, this business comes in spurts. And I would say I was in a really dry period at convention. Personally, in my own business, I was just like, nothing's happening. Like, I'm doing reach outs. Where is everyone? But then July, boom, signed up 12 people. Like, what in the world? And that triggered a thought with me that consistency compounds. And in this gig, sometimes you do have steady growth personally. Like, you just, sign up your 3 or 4 or whatever every month. But then boom, sometimes just it all filters in at one time. And so that was just kind of a clicker to me. It's like in the slow or drier seasons to continue planting seeds, to continue to follow up, to continue to grow my leadership, lift up my leadership lid by learning and staying coachable, because when the time's right, boom, all those people come at one time. So you want to be prepared to be able to help those people, equipped with your own knowledge and your skill, the skill set to help them get started and things like that. So, okay, so let's talk about, so I wrote some notes down from the notes that you guys put in the little chat thread. So thank you guys for responding to all the questions. It's always fun to see people's why. And I think that everything goes back to our why. And I was showing the girls last night in a call, and these are my 2 archival precious copies of my first Plexus notebooks. Okay, I've done Plexus in a very non-pretty way. I don't have pretty binders. Like, my binders look pretty sad and scary. But these were my it's full of my evolving why, my evolving goals, and my list of people that I felt could be blessed from either the products or the business. And so anyways, it's fun to me to look back there. And also I have a clipboard. Okay, some people have Excel spreadsheets. Megan doesn't have time for Excel spreadsheets. Look at these. I have scraps of paper with follow-up, my names of people, right? And so you don't have to do things perfectly, but you need to do things consistently. And I would say the one thing, I've been organized at a certain level, like a level enough where I can function. I mean, some days I just have to say, you know what, I got to overhaul the house. I need to get my desk organized. I just kind of have to get my brain on paper before, so I can be more efficient. Okay, whatever that is, whatever that looks like for you, do that so you can be effective in your business. But we don't want to be so perfectionistic that we never actually really start. You know what I mean? So I know I was talking to Jessica Heffley, and she said one of the things I see hold people back is perfectionism. And she said, you know, every post has to be personally crafted, a personalized photo that's picture perfect. Like, and she said, those people aren't as successful because they can't ever use a borrowed post. It like feels inorganic or genuine. And so I would say, it's all a balance, of course. You don't want to always use someone else's content, but you know, I've used other people's content and it's fine. People track with other people's stories, right? Same with always having to have things perfect, guys. It's not. My house is a tornado behind me. You know, there's just some seasons in our life or some days where it's like Brooke Hemingway says, it's some of the things are as easy to do as not to do, and sometimes we have to set something aside and go do our 30 minutes of IPA. Like, it's kind of like my workout. I was kind of in a bad funk of just not working out. And so I kind of revamped my thought process. It was like, okay, it takes me about 20 minutes to run 2 miles. Is it really going to make or break my day? No, like I have 20 minutes in a 24-hour period to get a run in, right? I mean, even if it's every other day, just something to get moving. And so, and it was a priority enough for me to feel like angst about it. And so that meant I needed to change something. And so do I have my notes from last night? Oh, I do. Okay. So I always like to be practical. So I shared a little bit of my story. Now I'll share a little bit of practical stuff. So I always like to think back to what I did to get to silver. And so what I did to get to silver was I started to share on Facebook. And when I look back at my first posts, I'm like, I don't know what people saw in those long posts, but there was something there, I guess, because I was excited about what I was learning. I didn't even post consistently, I don't think, but I kind of dabbled my way to silver. I posted, I made lists of people. I prayed that God would bring people across my path and bring people to my mind. And I was consistently writing people's names down, and I was consistently and genuinely and sweetly reaching out to them, because I thought, you know what, I have something that's starting to help me. The products make sense. And so I really think it would help other people. And so it was honestly, it was genuine reach outs for me. Like, I had to kind of get over my own head trash about, because I considered being a referral for Shoshana. I really did, because it was like, something feels different about me recommending something that I'm going to get paid for. But then I kind of had to step back and think, okay, well, why is it okay for Shoshana to make money and to have a business? I don't think anything of her having a business or multiple businesses, right? So it took a little bit of mental gymnastics, like just to get over my own head trash. The world runs off of business. We pay people all the time for service things, right? To get our nails done, to get our hair fixed, to get our dog groomed, whatever the things are, right? And so, and I'm a little bit entrepreneurial. Like, I grew up, having some little home businesses. And so it took me, because Plexus is so different. Like, we don't have to stock inventory. We don't have to host parties. We don't have to go do vendor events. It's so, like, for $34.95, we literally bought a business. Plexus does not pay celebrities to promote their products. They pay regular Joe Schmoes that don't even wash their hair and no makeup, right? To talk about the products. And so I just had to kind of get over the fear factor. And I think people look at me and they think I'm just always confident or whatever. But really, fear is my weakness. That's my besetting sin, is fear of what people think, fear of man, fear of whatever, right? And so, but God hasn't given us the spirit of fear, and to be held back, I don't know, I just had like this, I guess my desire, my faith in what Plexus could be was bigger than letting fear hold me back, if that makes sense. And so if you've struggled with a fear, or, I think you're not unusual. So I think we often feel like we're the only ones that have a particular struggle in our business. And this is true in life too. But in our business, like we're the only ones. We're the only ones that have ever had these certain fears. And I will say, like, I think pretty much everyone probably has to work through a certain level of fear or just mindset shifting and perspective, because really life is all about that, is perspective. And to like step back and take a look at things, right? So if you have a fear, I've probably had the same fear and have had to overcome it, or to do it in spite of the fear. You know, I mean, Jessica has always preached, do something scary every day. Whatever that thing is that you're scared of, go do it, because that it'll put a win under your belt and it won't be as scary next time, right? But I would say even now, like there's certain things that are scary to me. Like I'll just be completely honest with you guys. Carrie posting about the 10K that y'all just helped me earn, like that's a scary thing for me to post, like because of how it, I don't know, my hometown folks, people from church, I mean, that's like a certain percentage of probably of what they make on an income per year, right? But I've thought, you know what, that could be my scary thing for the day, because that could speak to someone that's business minded, someone that's maybe done network marketing before and is looking for an opportunity to join. They want to join someone successful, right? So all that to say, I still am having to do scary things, and I'm sure there will be more scary things in the future, but that's how we grow, right? That's how we get better at things. So whatever your fear is, if you take nothing else away from this call, whatever the scary thing is for you that's kind of been holding you back, just write it on your list and say, okay, I'm going to do that tomorrow before I go to bed. I got to message those 2 people, or I'm going to give that person a call, or I'm going to go make that video, you know, whatever the things are. Okay. So I love to just talk practicality. And so my encouragement is set a DMO for the day, like a daily mode of operation. This helps me so much, or even what we call it IPA, income producing activity. Just make a list. I actually made a list. Where did it go? Of things that I felt like were the tippy top most important things. Oh, here it is. I need to actually make a graphic for the team page. If you haven't seen the high five, that's kind of what I was raised on when I was going from silver to gold, you know, that Jessica really encouraged us to do. But my like IPA daily encouragement for people is the 10-10-10. So 10 minutes of reaching out. So do nothing. No, like you're not responding back to people in those 10 minutes. You're just 10 minutes of working off the list that you have, sending out genuinely sweet messages. Okay, however many you can send out. 10 minutes of follow-ups, and then 10 minutes of connecting. And when I say connecting, one of the things that I've done is, if you've been on my power hours, I've shown this. See, not beautiful, but it works. So this is my printed off Facebook friends list, and I just will try to connect with all the people on the page that are not in Plexus. So because of the Facebook algorithms, I felt like in June, July, like I was basically preaching to the choir, like my family, people from town. Like I felt like that's all the people that were seeing my posts. And so when you start interacting with people that you haven't seen on Facebook in a long time, that bumps your stuff into their news feed. So and also, like as network marketers, we have to be connectors. And so connecting genuinely and sweetly on social media is a way to grow our influence, to just connect with people. So when I say connect, I'm basically going to their Facebook wall. Okay, so I'll go to Abigail's wall, and I'll scroll and see what posts maybe resonates with me, and I'll put a comment of value on it, like at least 4 words. Ask a question. Oh, you know, maybe it's, hey, love the trip from your vacation, or love the pictures from your vacation. We're thinking about going to California next year. You know, I'd love to pick your brain about your top tips or whatever. Just kind of like how you would be in person connecting with someone. Like maybe you meet someone on the elevator, or you're sitting by the pool when you're on family vacation. You just, you know, like strike up conversation, right? It's not reaching out about Plexus. Okay, so I do reach out specifically about Plexus, and I do follow up specifically, but then I also have this other thing going where I'm connecting intentionally with people just about life stuff, not Plexus. So another thing that I do or recommend doing is happy birthdays every day. Like that was one thing I wasn't doing, but I started to do more intentionally. And not just to say happy birthday, because you want to leave a spark. Have you guys read that Vanessa Van Williams book, Captivate? It's kind of like a How to Win Friends and Influence People book, but she talks about being a spark. So to be someone that some people remember, which really stems from being a good question asker and being interested in other people. But she said, even like when you're making a Facebook reach out message, she said, don't start it with, hi, how are you? She's like, everyone else in the world starts that way. She said, studies show that if you use a word like howdy, you'll get a bigger response back, because people are like, oh, what is she asking me about? Howdy isn't something I say, but the idea is you want to create a spark. So when you're saying happy birthday to people, she taught me to not just say happy birthday, but to be like, happy birthday, so-and-so, what fun do you have planned today? Or, something that would generate an answer to your question, or a comment back to something that you added value-wise, or even a picture. Sometimes you can get a cute, pretty graphic, happy birthday graphic, and post that for people. Okay. Okay, so that's that about DMO or IPA. And posting is simply educating. And that's really, that's kind of over here. It's just like a continual little drip of info. But the main meat of the most important things that we do isn't necessarily posting. It's really the reach outs and the connecting with people. So like Stephanie was talking about, I think with prioritizing, prioritize your Plexus time so that you're working on the most efficient things. And then if you have extra time, then yeah, definitely go scroll or go do team page stuff or listen to Marco Polo stuff, right? But you want to, like Brooke says, clean your own potty first, meaning do your most important thing first. Okay. Let's talk about reading. I did write that down. Proud of you guys, because readers are leaders. And when you're reading, you're initiating growth in yourself, and that spills over into other people, not just in Plexus, but just in general. So loved seeing that you guys are all reading things. Another thing that I just cabbaged onto was the Audible app. I'm a little slow, a little bit behind the times usually for technical stuff, but that has helped so much because I can download a book onto that and I can listen while I can basically multiply my tasks, which is going to be starting to be really important once we start school, because I have even more limited time to myself. But if I can get a workout in and listen to my personal growth stuff while I'm running or biking or something, that's a win. So I would also say loved reading about your strengths, and I would just encourage you guys to play into those. Like, definitely know your strengths. If you haven't read the Strengths Finder or read the Color Personality book, and also, what is the other one? Oh, the Enneagram test, or the Myers-Briggs. All of those things are good because it teaches us self-awareness so that we know more about ourselves and how we tick, and also how we can play into the strengths that we have. Okay. Some of your strengths are coachability. I saw that. And I would also add to that, being able to ask yourself good questions. And I would say if there's one thing that, looking back, that I've done, I always am asking myself questions like, okay, why is this working? Or especially, why is this not working? Like, if it's not achieving what I really felt like I thought it would, let's figure out how to revamp that, So being able to ask yourself questions, and also ask your people questions, or ask your sponsor, hey, what do you see about what I'm doing where I can do better or improve? Or is there anything that you see, even in my wording, that I can do better? So being coachable like that, and even asking. If you can't see it for yourself, maybe ask your sponsor, ask your spouse, ask a third party, because they can sometimes speak into a blind spot, or just even be a third party for what you are doing well. Because sometimes when you're in something like this, you don't necessarily have a lot of like back pats and like, oh yeah, you're doing the right thing. So sometimes it's just helpful to have confirmation of like, okay, I was on the right track. I was totally thinking the right way. It just gives you confidence with that. I also loved that you guys' why wasn't just about others, and it also wasn't just about you. It was about both both of those things. I think a good why really has a several pronged approach, including something that's emotionally tied to you, like your desire to give to others, right? To be able to give in big ways, but also like I think it was Gina that said she wants to be able to help her family have more fun, meaning, which I think also with that, like be specific, like, hey, we want to take a trip to, maybe, hey, we want to take a mission trip to Haiti so that we can do X, Y, Z. Or it's always been a dream of ours for our, 25th wedding anniversary to go to Hawaii, or, some like really specific goal that has emotional value to you. You want to make sure why includes that. So, because I would say the times that I've gotten stuck in my business is when my why is kind of like, my why is too small, or maybe it's my goals too. Like when it's basic, when there's been a plateau or a lid, sometimes it's a leadership lid I've hit, or I've realized, I have to expand my why. It's going to have to get bigger than just me and my family. So, okay, so there's that. Let's talk about the fear of sharing the business. This is a fear of mine until I was Sapphire. And then Jessica shared about how the world runs off of business. And I gleaned a little bit, or a bigger perspective, I think, about sharing the business. I think it feels uncomfortable to a lot of us because we started for products and we didn't start for the business. Although Gretchen could speak to that because she did start for the business. Actually, Gretchen, would you mind sharing your perspective in light of sharing about the business, or when you started, maybe what was attractive to you about the business?
There's different folks that come for different reasons, but yeah, we started for business because that was our greatest area of need. And the Lord prepared me and gave me the knowledge that when we saw Plexus, I knew enough to know that it was really, really, really good. But in our case, Kyle just turned 46. We have a young family, and he works a very physical job, and he has an expiration date on that just because of the physicality of it. If he doesn't get injured and debilitated in the meantime, which the Lord has protected him. But I don't think that we are unusual in that. It's different things for different people, but people have financial needs, whether it's something like that, whether it's like Lana with your husband coming up on retirement, people wanting to be debt free, homeschool families that really benefit from a side income that isn't going to take them out of their home and their family life. So for us, yeah, we did look at it for the business. And yeah, was there anything else that I should touch on there, Megan?
No, I think just us hearing your perspective, I think it just helps, even knowing what to say, because I remember like if you make a post about the business, like, well, what do I say exactly? If you feel like you're not in a position where you're making a lot of money yet, like how do you share it? And I know Jessica has always said, share something tangible. Maybe you reinvest the money back into your business, or maybe you're currently covering the cost of your products, but what would that translate into? Maybe that's the week's worth of groceries for your family, or maybe that would fill up the tank of gas to take you guys to a water park for a day, or like something tangible. Because a lot of times people don't, I know there's been people that haven't tracked with the health side, but once they see like something tangible that the Plexus business has paid for, even like a kitchen, what did I hear? Who was it? Oh, one of the diamonds. Oh, was it? Anyways, it doesn't really matter who it was. She said she did a little mini remodel on her kitchen. She's like, that sold more Plexus than anything. She's like, I told him, like, it was my Plexus income. I did a little mini makeover on my kitchen. Because I think a lot of people would like, oh man, I would work a business to be able to do that, And so I think it helps to share tangible things. The other thing too is, like Brooke Hemingway said, in order to make more income, we would have to go pick up extra shifts at the hospital, and she and her husband were having a tag team. One of them was going to have to work nights or work overtime or work another day that they could have spent, with their family. So I think sometimes when we look at the aspect of what do people have to do in order to make more income, they have to go get a job, usually outside their house, right? This is something that can be done from literally anywhere you have cell service. So that's the cool thing. And I know, not knowing what to say, I think also sometimes just saying exactly what's on our heart. Like, I don't always share about the business, or it's something that I kind of have a fear of. But what I've found is kind of that feel, felt, found method of sharing, because I think people track with hearing your perspective, not just someone else's success story all the time, So anyways, so if you're fearful of sharing the business, I would say go do it. Go make a post tomorrow. And if you're not sharing, this is something else that Jessica said. She'll scroll people's Facebook wall when they feel like they're not being successful. And she's like, well, there is nothing that you've posted for the past 2 weeks that would make me want to join your business. She's like, so, and this is my personal take, is that there are still Jessica Huffleys, there are still Brooke Hemingways, there are still people out there that will work this opportunity and work it with you, right? But there has to be something shared, because people only know about Plexus from what we share. But there has to be something shared that would attract them, right? So that's why it's good to share with a different color personalities in mind. Blue personalities want to see fun and get-togethers and parties and things like that. They want to know that there's friendships and activities, right? Green personalities want the facts. Reds want to see income. They want to see, shopping spree earners. They want to see things like that would attract them, right? Yellows want to know about how this could be an opportunity to help other people, right? And so I think posting with those in mind. Also, Jessica said she tells people, if you're not posting at least 2 diamond documentaries a week, you need to be doing that. And sometimes I'll try to target a demographic. I'm not perfect at this, so don't follow my example. But like sometimes I'll be like, are you a teacher? And like hashtag teacher. And then I'll have someone's diamond doc and they're a teacher. Or same with nurse or whatever. Because, people have this idea that to be a Plexus person, you have to be a certain way. And so I think it also kind of reduces that stigma, so to speak. And I was tracking with Lana, because she was a crunchy mom before that was even a thing, right? And so people in her network see why she's successful, because she's been about health and wellness for years, right? I feel a little bit like that's how people view me, but really I feel like we have to break down those barriers, because anyone can be successful at this. I didn't come in with the skill set. It's a learned thing, just like Bob Heilig taught, right? In his video. Another thing that was communicated was the fear of not being able to help others be successful, and also the fear of coming across as too red or too strong for people. And also feeling like you kind of have the ups and you have the downs and the ups and the downs. And this whole idea of emotional maturity is a new terminology to me, but this is something I'm learning and I'm growing in, is like to not be so emotionally affected by a customer that decides it's not for them, or someone that's struggling with detox, or an ambassador that's feeling like they're not successful. Instead of like being up and then down and up, like to be more even keel. There's no Plexus emergencies, okay? Just this idea of being self-aware and also emotionally mature, to where not every single little thing is like setting me off. I don't know if this tracks with anyone, but it's something that I'm learning to be better at, and to maybe not take everything to like so much to heart, if that makes sense. In light of the feeling like the fear of turning someone off because you're so red or whatever, I would say to that, like, what about teaming up with a teammate, even someone that you've personally signed up that's a different color personality than you, and interview them and just say, hey, what are your thoughts when I say this? Or what does this come off to you? Because I've realized that some color personalities are turned off by really strong wording. And so even the idea of cold message. Okay, that wording freaks me out. I don't like that wording. I don't use it. But I like the wording of, let's open up some conversations. Let's, instead of maybe saying follow up, let's circle back around to people that we've chatted with. Instead of using the words prospect and recruit and things like that, even using different wording so it's not such scary like network marketing lingo, right? So the idea is we want to be connecting with people that are different than us, that maybe process things differently or they hear things differently, right? One other quick thing that I wanted to talk about real quick before we open it up for Q&A. By the way, if you have questions and answers, just feel free to put them in the chat, or you guys can unmute here in a minute too. But one thing I did want to say really quick about goals is we need to be specific with the goals. So one thing that I have learned to do is, so for example, if I want to be Ruby in 6 months, okay, say I'm gold right now. So I currently have 100 pay points, okay, which it translates into 20 active people. And I'm going to go from gold, which is 20 people, to Ruby, which is 100 people. Now, before you get too freaked out and be like, oh, I can't do that. That's way too many people. I don't know that many people. You don't have to do it by yourself, right? You're going to have a team working with you. And this is the thing, is that when you're setting your goals, you also need to be looking at how many people are going silver on your team, because that's where the magic happens. And I would say developing silvers is something that goes back to the wording of when we're chatting with people, when we're helping them get started. If you guys haven't listened to Brooke's video about helping decide what bucket your person falls into, right? She had that silver call. I thought that was phenomenal in the wording she used, but basically talking to them when they're signing, like, hey, what are your thoughts about sharing? Because if Carrie would have asked me from the get-go what are my thoughts, I probably would have told her, like, hey, I see potential here, or if she would have said, hey, let's make your first post, okay? I'll help you know what to say. Let's just throw it out there and see if anyone wants to do it with you, right? I would have shared from day one if she would have had me do that, right? So I think opening up that conversation with people, if we're signing up primarily wholesalers, we're not out anything to ask people the question, because I guarantee you have people that are at least kind of intrigued, or you'll plant a seed at the thought of, hey, who do you know that this could benefit? Like, just get your mom, your BFF, and a couple of girlfriends, and you can get your first month of product paid for. Like, your ROI will be fabulous, right, after your first month. So I think kind of just planting that seed. But in light of going from gold to Ruby, mapping out, gold is 100 pay points, Ruby is 500 pay points. And how many people is that? Not just points, but that translates into 100 people. And that's in your levels 1 through 3, not just, well, it can be all levels, but primarily usually when you hit Ruby, you're pretty much not too deep yet. So translating points into people has been really helpful for me, and then dividing that out. So if I'm currently at 20 people, I'm wanting to be Ruby in 6 months. So that's 100 people. So then we have to take the 80 people. We need 80 more people and divide that by 6. So that means we need to add 13.3 people to our team each month. You might be looking at your team going, I don't know how we're going to add 13.3 people because I'm doing this all myself. But what I've found is usually when I start networking within my team, or even asking the question, or even just setting my intention that, wow, I need to really kind of just shift my focus from not just trying to get me to sign up people, but to help my team help people get started. Shifting that focus a little bit gets you leaning in that direction of developing silvers. And that's really where the magic starts to happen. So you go from adding to actually multiplying, and that multiplication starts to be exponential. So, okay, I will stop talking because I want to hear from you guys. I would love to hear maybe what you tracked with from the Bob Heilig, maybe what questions that you have, a fear you're struggling with or something. Because sometimes just when we identify a certain fear or weakness that we have, sometimes that's just like the thing that brings it to the light, and then we can overcome it. So, okay, I'll mute and you guys just pipe in popcorn style. You guys all know how to unmute, right? There's a little mute. Some of you might be from a phone. Oh, there, Linnea.
Yes. Oh, is someone else trying to talk? Can you hear me? I think one issue that I've been having and trying to figure out what to do with is sort of on the follow-up question. And, you know, I feel like there's a lot of people that just never get back to me. Not just a cold reach out, which that of course is much higher, but also, you know, somebody you've had some conversation with or whatever. And so I just sometimes struggling with how much, how often, and what exactly to do.
Yeah, I think we all feel that way because it's normal to get crickets. Like, I think it's kind of the opening when I tell people, like, if I reach out to 100 people in a given week, I will hear back from about 10% of those people. And from that 10%, I'll probably sign maybe 3 to 4 people. And that's over a period of time. That's just not like people are ready to come join me, right? So I think it's timing for people. And just because they haven't responded, I love what Wendy Lawson said. She said, it means they're still thinking about it. Right? Instead of my brain automatically goes to the negative. Oh, yes. I'm interested. But when Wendy said that, I was like, that's really true, because some of the people, it's shocking because sometimes they're just like, oh yeah, they'll finally respond after so many messages and be like, oh yeah, I need to do that. Sorry, it's been like so crazy here. And so it's not necessarily that they're trying to be rude or not respond. Angie and Brazetti is really funny because she said, oh, this will get people to comment right away, usually, is when you message and say, have I done something to offend you? I'm like, well, you're brave, because I don't know that I would actually message that to someone, but she's like, it gets a response. So it probably depends on the person, too, if you know them fairly well. How often? I kind of go with instinct on that one. Sometimes I feel like I need a fresh follow-up list, because sometimes I'm just like, I've reached out to these people way too many times. It's not the right timing. Sometimes for a follow-up, I might go to their Facebook wall and just make a comment. Mm-hmm. Not actually private message them, hey, are you ready to start yet? But just to like build relationship and connect with them as a version of follow-up. And what to say, if I've talked to someone like last week and they seemed really interested, but then the ball just got dropped, they either didn't get back to me, or maybe I didn't get back to them, I'll just pick the ball back up, because to me, the ball's always in my court. I can pick it up and bounce it back and just say something like, hey, I know we chatted about Plexus last week, and I'm helping people get their orders in today. Or is this something that you are ready to do? So don't feel bad to be bold and ask for the sale, basically. I was on a call on Tuesday night, I think it was, and Tammy was saying that she realized that she signs the most people on Thursday and Fridays. She said, I think that's when people are most vulnerable, and that's when they are so tired from the week and they're just like, I gotta do something. And also it's payday. That helps too. So anyways, does that help? Gretchen or anyone else can pipe into your follow-up.
I have to pop in. I got a message from a gal that I've been talking with and following up with for over a year for sure. And she just sent me this message out of blue and said, do you still sell Plexus? So if you feel like you're talking about it all the time, that's probably not what people are getting from you. And yes, there are those times when I'm like, okay, I've sent this person 6 messages about Plexus in a row. Now it's just time to connect as a person and build a relationship.
That's very funny, because I know it might have been Angie said someone had asked her too, and she's like, where have you been? I feel like I post about Plexus all the time. Clearly haven't been following my stuff. Yeah, that's funny. All right, who else has a question or a comment or a win? Yeah.
I did just want to add on the emotional roller coaster thing with sometimes I know for me when I was starting out and someone would have a detox issue, or one of those things would happen, it was a little scarier than it is now, because you're new and you don't have as much experience and you wonder, okay, am I going to make it? And so for me, knowing that that is normal, that it happens, that everybody has people that drop off the bandwagon or, supposedly start on the products and then won't respond or, whatever it is, just knowing that that was normal and it did not mean that you were not going to succeed, that was a big relief for me. So I just want to throw that out there.
Yeah, I have also found that when I call people on the phone, if they're struggling with detox, I can usually salvage them because I get a clearer picture. And this is something that's taken me 3 years to learn. And that is when I connect with them on the phone or in person, usually on the phone, I get a clearer picture of what their pain points are and actually what they're dealing with. I feel like there's kind of a veil on Facebook Messenger a lot of times, and I can't get a full picture. And sometimes people sound like they're ready to quit and they're on the outs, and that I've been usually like, okay, no worries, instead of pursuing them and be like, okay, well, tell me what's going on, and just kind of having that helper attitude. I totally was able to help a lady the other day I don't even know her, but anyways, we connected, and she is desperate because she has such horrible gut health issues. But she was someone that I said, Slim is not a good fit for you right now. You have such severe leaky gut. You need to go to the grocery store and get L-glutamine. You need to start making bone broth, and you need to, I think Christy had recommended a couple of enzymes for her to take with every meal. I said, let's lay off and just do Probio 5 and kind of start slowly healing your gut. But she was so thankful. She's like, I feel like you're a godsend for helping me and just like connecting me with the right products. But sometimes people need some other things besides Probio 5. Sometimes they need extra enzymes. I mean, that's kind of a rare situation, but when you're helping people, I have a couple of protocols on the team page if you search hashtag diverticulitis. And I also have stuff about gallbladder from Christy Dafter. She still recommends certain Plexus products, but she also said they have to get on X, Y, and Z too, to really get on top of the issues that they're dealing with. But anyways, okay, who else wants to share?
Hi, can you hear me? Hi. Okay, so I would say that I have noticed a problem with people with detox too. No matter how much I explain that to them in the beginning and follow up with sending them helpful info about detox, it's like when that hits, they want to quit. So I have done what you've suggested with, I've met with them in person. I've talked with them, and still I have a problem with people dropping off due to detox. And then I just also wanted to say in the Bob Heilig videos, I loved how he said that love, service, and giving should be the center of our business, and how our focus can't be egocentric. So I think I resonated with that the most.
Thank you for sharing. And you know what? That's why you guys are all successful, is because that is the secret behind your success, is that you do love, you do serve, and you are giving. And I loved his gratefulness thing as well. I thought that was just really profound when he talked about gratitude. With detox, I have people, some people identify with their sickness and there's nothing I can do to help them until they really truly want to get well. Sometimes their negative mindset is keeping them from getting well. I don't know how that works, but some people I'm just like, some people you just have to bless and release. If you've done everything within your power to help them, work with them on dosing, and you've chatted with them and you've met with them, I mean, that's going above and beyond. So you've definitely done your job as an ambassador. So I would know that you did your job with them, and those people come back because as they see you sticking with it and helping a lot of people, a lot of times they'll be like, I tried that 2 years ago. Maybe I need to try it again, because obviously it's working for a lot of people that you've helped. So I think that credibility over time that you build as you build your business people can't argue with that, So those people, I have had multiple people restart. So that's why I think it's good to keep, like, never close a door on someone. Like, always keep it open, conversations open with, former customers or former ambassadors, and just stay social with them on social media or in person, because a lot of times they'll restart. And I want them to restart with me, not with someone else, right? Okay, anyone else have any quick questions? Jill? It's Jill, right? I think it's Jill. And Stephanie. We don't see Stephanie's face, but she's listening. And Lana. Do you have anything to pop on and share?
I'm tired. Oh, yeah, I'm really, I keep going back to this place of being overwhelmed, partly because I have people jumping in with me, and I'm following up like mad, and I'm trying to get people started right like crazy, and and then I get to this place where it's like, I don't know what to do with them. I don't know how to take them to the next place, and I'm not organized on top of it. I have my 3-ring binder, and it's like, I can't even write it all down. It's like happening so crazy fast. So
Momentum.
Yeah, and it's like, I can't live like this. I've got to figure out a way.
It's a little bit scary, but your people aren't going to just like all fall off if you have to take a day to revamp or refocus. One thing that I have done, which you guys have probably already done this, but I put my team on paper. And so I'm a pen and paper person. And so it helped me just as a glance to be able to see, okay, who are my new ambassadors? Who are my new customers? Because then I can kind of tag them in chunks, or sometimes I group them into group messages. If I have a certain group that has said, hey, I do want to go silver, sometimes I'll group them in a little chunk so that I can not have to message everyone individually. But like, hey guys, did you see this video? Or tagged you all in a post that I thought you could track with, things like that. People that are working with you, I know that I learned this from Marianne Anderson. She's a really fast grower in Plexus. She greets her team every morning with an assignment. So she'll say, hey, message this to 10 people. Let's just get this done. This is what you have to say, or this is what you can say. And she'll just like give wording and give like really specific direction. And then when anyone ever has a win, if they sign up a customer or if they get a message back or whatever, like their whole little chat thread celebrates, and they're posting their little gifts or whatever those things are. So like she's creating excitement and culture and things like that within the little chat thread. But yeah, anyone else that has some organizational ideas that have worked, feel free to pipe in, because I think it is I want to avoid overwhelm as much as possible, but when momentum comes, sometimes it's like it comes in, it's like just this rolling snowball. If you're someone that likes to like make sure that you have all your ducks in a row, sometimes it really feels like, whoa, how do I keep up, right?
Yeah, and I think that was actually one of the things that kept me from starting in the beginning, because I could see the potential, and I am pretty well connected, and I've got a lot more years than you have working on this, in terms of building that trust with people. So I knew if I actually did 100 reach outs, I'd like have to stop living, to follow up.
Well, that's so true. I have a friend, she's probably 10 years younger than my mom. She's probably late 40s or early 50s. And just like you gals at that stage in life, that life season, you have a lot of influence and a lot of credibility, and you've lived life longer. And so you have more wisdom. You have, so like, she was like, you probably think I'm not doing the things, but she's like, I've done 70 reach outs, and she's like, I'm so busy, I can't like keep up with all the messages. Because another girl said that she had done 500 reach outs, I think. And I'm like, well, you don't have to do that many reach outs, because you have a lot of in-person rapport with people, and you have a lot of personal influence. So I'm like, you can't really compare that. If you're getting lots of response back from 70 messages, then you keep doing what you're doing, girl.
Yeah, and I'm playing that. I don't have a set of strategies in my brain, you know, and not sure like, okay, this is what I do next with this person. I think that duplication video is really helpful, you know, like to keep track of where everybody is in, you know, what funnel they're in, you know, and maybe spend some time like focusing on this group and then some time focusing on that, where they are in that process. And you know, so you're keeping all those plates spinning, and that is really what it feels like, is plate spinning.
Yeah, and for me to write down, I'll just a lot of times I'm a list maker, and so I'll keep even a blank sheet of paper or a notepad. So when I have ideas for incentives, or I have ideas for maybe a certain group of people, like how can I get them rolling type of thing, I'll just try to write that down, or have a to-do list even the night before, or sometimes just kind of getting my brain put on paper just kind of releases that pressure, so that it's here and not here. But yeah, the spinning plates is it's a little bit of that. And it's good. I'll just say, like, don't feel like you can't have permission to take time to yourself, to fill up, to go on a walk, to just close down your computer, turn off your phone, and just like go take a hot bath, go, you know, hang out with the kids, go do something fun. It'll all be there the next day when you come back to it. That's something that I'm learning. The life of an entrepreneur. All good stuff. Anyone else have any quick questions?
Having Wi-Fi problems and running out of battery.
Uh-oh. Your video stopped. Oh, there you are. Love your earrings, by the way.
Yeah.
Super cute.
Sorry, I might have to see you on the recording. Thank you. I would have no accessories if I didn't have friends that like them.
I'm going to order some more. My mom's like, I really need lightweight earrings, because when you get old, your earlobes start to hang down. So I'm like, oh, those would be perfect for you, because they're so lightweight. Can't even tell you have one.
Yeah, I get lots of compliments.
Oh, good. Awesome. Gretchen, is there anything else that you want to share really quick before we pop off?
Nothing top of mind, but yeah, we learn by doing, and I just coming back to the John Maxwell consistency compounds. I think if you're willing to learn and you're willing to keep going, you will get where you want to be.
That's so true. I was chatting with Cassie's team last night, or Shelby's team, both of their teams, but one of the girls on Shelby's team was saying that she just makes it her personal goal to have 3 conversations during the day. She works in a large office, and so she said, actually, I feel like, she's posting on Facebook, but she said, I feel like the most effective things that I do is one face-to-face conversations. And I'm like, that's the beauty of this, is it can look different than how it looks for me. Like, it doesn't have to look the same. And with those 3 conversations, that setting that intention, like, she's successful. She signed 4 people last month, and I think 3 people this month so far, and she's working on Super Silver. So all that to say, you don't have to set these huge, crazy goals. Just something small that you can commit to every day, I think is the key. Okay, well, it's 10:05, so I will let you guys go. Thank you so much for popping on. I hope that there's a little nugget of something that you could take away and implement, and if nothing else, just be encouraged and inspired that we all got to hop on together. Since we can't all be like in our living room or at a coffee shop, Zoom has to work for now.
Yes, thank you. Very encouraging and helpful. So
awesome.
Thank you so much.
And looking forward to celebrating lots of stuff here at the end of the month. There's gonna be exciting things happening. So hearing y'all on, and we'll be. Feel free to actually, if you come up with any other questions or things, just feel free to put them in that chat thread that we have going, and we can chitty chat over there. All right, you guys have a great night. I did record this, so if there's anyone that missed, I can upload it to YouTube if someone wants to listen to it. All right, thanks guys for popping on.
Thank you.
Have a great night, guys. Bye.